everyone, welcome back to English with Jackie. I'm Jackie and I'm here to teach you American English. Americans love small talk, which are casual conversations you have with friends, coworkers, or even strangers. One of the most common topics of small talk is the weather. If you can't think of anything to talk about, or if you have nothing in common with that person, you can always talk about the weather. Today, I'm going to teach you different ways to describe weather in English. Are you ready? Let's go. If you're new and like my content, consider subscribing. So first, let's start with temperature. I'm going to describe temperature from hot to cold. When it's hot outside, you can say, "It's scorching hot," or "It's boiling hot." And if it lasts for more than a few days, we call it a heat wave. If it's not too hot, then it's warm. This is my favorite temperature. You can say, "It feels so nice and warm today." Cool is a little warmer than cold, and you might need a light jacket. It often gets cool in spring or fall. You could say, "The weather is a little cooler today. You might want to grab a sweater." Now we get to cold. This is my least favorite temperature. One word that Americans use a lot to describe being cold is chilly. Chilly is cold enough to make you shiver. Brr. You definitely need a jacket, probably one of those puffy ones. You could say, "It's chilly outside." Another word for chilly is brisk. For example, "It was a brisk fall day." Brisk also means fast, such as a nice brisk walk. And when it's very cold, we call it freezing. In California, when it hits 50 degrees, we may say, "It's freezing." It just means it's really cold outside, and we don't usually mean the actual freezing temperature. It all depends on the person. I hate being cold, so I will often say, "It's freezing today." We can also describe temperature in degrees. We are probably the only country that uses Fahrenheit, while the rest of the world uses Celsius. We often use the words low and high to describe the temperature. We may say, "Tonight it's going to drop down to the low 40s. Or, "It's going to hit the high 90s this afternoon." We use the phrase triple digits to mean over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. If you live in a hot place like Arizona, you may hear, "It's going to be in the triple digits all week." There are two other factors that affect how you feel about the actual temperature. First is humidity. Humidity is how much water is in the air. When it's humid outside, you feel hotter and your skin feels sticky because the sweat is not evaporating. I hate sweating and especially dislike humidity. It makes my hair so frizzy. You could say, "It's so hot and humid today. I need to take another shower." The opposite of humid is dry. During the winter, the air is very dry, and you might even need a humidifier at home. You might say, "The air is really dry today." Another factor is wind chill. When it's cold outside and windy, you actually feel colder. So people might say, "It's 40 degrees outside, but it feels like 32 with the wind chill." Let's now talk about wind. If there's a light wind, We call it a breeze. When you're hiking during a hot day and all of a sudden there's a light wind, we might say, "That's a nice breeze." Nothing is better than a breeze when you're hiking uphill. Breeze can also mean a task is easy. For example, cleaning up the house was a breeze. That means it was easy to clean up the house. Okay, getting back to weather. If it's more than a breeze, then it's windy. You might say, "It's windy outside today. Watch out for your hat. It might get blown off." When you want to describe an even stronger wind, we use the phrase gusty winds. There are gusty winds over the mountain pass today. Be careful. Now let's talk about rain. If it's light, we call it a drizzle or a sprinkle. Is it raining outside? No, it's just drizzling. Not a big deal. Or, it's just sprinkling outside. You don't need an umbrella. For normal rain, we say, "It's raining," or "It's rainy today." When it's pouring outside, it means it's raining heavily outside. You might say, "I would wait until the rain lets up. It's pouring outside." Sometimes we use the word shower to describe a short burst of rain. For example, "We may have a few rain showers today, but then it should clear up." Another word, downpour, is also a short period of rain, but much more intense. It's like someone pours a bucket of water on your head. You might say, "I was stuck in a downpour and got completely soaked." An idiom that Americans like to use is, "It's raining cats and dogs," which pretty much means a downpour. And when the temperature is so low that the rain is turning into ice when it hits the ground, it's called freezing rain. I've been fortunate to never experience freezing rain, but it sure sounds cold. For example, you might say, "A blast of freezing rain swept across parts of the country." Hail are pellets of frozen rain. It's somewhere between rain and snow. The hail was the size of a golf ball. Now let's talk about snow. When it's snowing, you could say, "It's snowing outside." Snow can be described as powdery, if it's freshly fallen and loose, or slushy, if it's old and melting. When the snow is very heavy to the point you can barely see outside, we call it a blizzard. You might say, "Schools were just closed due to the blizzard." If we say there's a storm coming, it means there's rain, wind, lightning, and thunderstorms. For example, "We better prepare. The storm is coming tonight and we may lose power." Examples of more severe storms include hurricanes or typhoons. They are pretty much the same thing. The only difference is the location. For example, you could say, "The hurricane is expected to make landfall tomorrow morning." A tornado is a type of storm that has a rapid rotating column and you want to stay as far away as possible. You could say, "A tornado touched down in Kansas today. It was frightening." Let's now talk about the sunshine. We go from sunny, mostly sunny, partly cloudy, cloudy, to overcast. Overcast means most of the sky is covered with clouds. So you could say, "The sky has been overcast all day and it makes me feel gloomy." Last but not least, when there's so much moisture in the air that you can hardly see in front of you, it's called fog. And we describe it using the word foggy. When that happens, the visibility is very low. It means you can barely see, and it's very important to drive slowly. You may say, "It was so foggy this morning, I couldn't even see the cars in front of me." Or, "I'm gonna wait until the fog lets up." And one more thing, the person on TV who gives you the forecast for the weather is called a meteorologist. Okay, that's it. I hope I taught you some weather vocabulary that you can use in your small talk and more. Leave me a comment and consider subscribing. And remember, in order to improve your English, you need to learn it, use it, and live it. See you next time.